Welcome back to LarryB YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful off-shoulder dress with side gode. Gode is gathered by the side, as you can see, and this dress does not have a half cut, so there is no joining at the half length. It's just coming from the upper part all the way to the hem. I'm going to take you through how I cut and sew this in this class. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. We're going to start by drafting on the paper, and I want it to be as fast as possible, so I already marked it with my pencil. So it's an off shoulder body, so I'm going to go up by 5 inches, and then I'm going to start taking my measurements. This is my armhole line, this is my bust point line, this is my waistline for the front, that's the half length, this is my hip line, and then my full length is 54 inches. I have it there. So what you need to do is to make all of this into a straight line, as you can see. So after doing that, you are going to get your bust span. Mine is 10.5 divided by 2 is 5¼ This is for a big size, so I'm going to go ahead and mark the 5¼ all around, and then you're going to make that into a straight line. So I'm going to mark it from here, that is 2 to 3 inches before your hip line. Okay, your that should not get to your hip line. So once you have that, on the shoulder here, you're going to mark your bust span as well. But for me, yes, I just marked my bust span and then I added half an inch to it. So instead of 5¼ I have 5.75 here, as you can see, and then I went ahead to connect it like this. So now on your waistline, let me label this. This is my armhole line, this is my bust point, and this is my waistline. So on the waistline here, you are going to take your dart. Okay, I'm not doing a bust here. So after taking your dart, you're going to connect it to your bust point like this, and then you're going to do the same thing on the hem line. Okay, you are going to connect it. So this is the dart we are working with. So to tighten the chest area, I'm going to take a dart of half an inch on both sides as well, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect that to my bust point. So once you have it, the next thing is to create your armhole curve. So my chest measurement, across chest measurement is 12, divided by 4 is 6, and divided by 2 is 6½ is 6, 13, sorry, my across measurement, that's from one armhole to another, is 13, divided by 2 is 6½. So here I'll mark what I have 5¼ I'm just going to shift it, and then I'm going to mark 6.5 there. So here you're going to take your bust measurement. The bust is 50, divided by 4 is 12½, so I have 5¼ there as well, and then I'm going to continue my measurements. So my 12.5 stops here. Okay, so now the next thing is to grab your curved ruler, and then you're going to mark your armhole curve there. So this is my armhole line. So now after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and continue taking my circumference measurement. So here you're already taking your bust measurement. Here I'm going to take my waist measurement. The waist circumference is 11¼ that's 45 divided by 4. So 11¼ you're going to mark what you have here. I have 4¼ then you're going to shift it and then continue your measurement. So 11¼ stops here for me, and then on the hip line, my hip is 54. Okay, so 58 divided by 4 is 14 inches. Okay, quarter of the hip is 14, so that's 56, sorry, 56 inches. So 56 divided by 4 is 14 inches. So this is 14 inches here, and that is the hip measurement that I am working with. So I'm going to take my curved ruler, and then I'm going to connect all of that measurements together. So you're going to connect from your bust to your waist, and then from your waist you are going to connect to the hip. So once you do this measurement that you have, you are going to continue with it all the way to your hem. Like I said, I already used my pencil to draw this out, so I'm just going to connect it. So this is my full front bodice. So for my front, the front half length is longer than the back by 2 inches. So on the bust line here, I'm going to come down here by 2 inches, and then I'm going to connect to my bust point for my bust dash. Please remember that this pattern does not have seam allowance, so you should indicate that you need to, okay, add seam allowance, so that when you are cutting it on your fabric, you will remember that. So those are all the dots that we need to take, and I'm going to go ahead now and work on the lower part. So for the lower part, it has a side godet. So to add this godet, you need to determine where you want it to be. So this is where my waistline is. It's a plus size, and I don't want it to look too shabby, so I don't want it to be too far from my waistline. Okay, so you can do two. Ideally, you can come down from a waistline by 4 inches, but I don't want this to be too far from the waistline, so that it can have fittings where the hip is very high. That's where I want it, so that it can lift the godet a little bit. So you can leave it at 3 inches, you can do 2 inches as well, but I'm just going to work with 3 inches away from my hip. So that is where it is. So now to connect this, I'm going to maintain my bust span measurement. If you don't want yours to be like that, you can reduce it. Okay, it's totally up to you. So my bust span is 5 and 5 1/4. So it means by the time I'm done, the width of my design is going to be around 10 inches. Okay, if you want it to be 8 inches, all you just need to do is to come here on your hip line and mark that 8 inches, and then you mark it round. Then you're going to find a way to connect it to your, to link it to your dart area here first, before you link it to the side. But for me, I'm just going to maintain what I have here, which is 5 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the 5 1/4 all down. So again, I have already done that with my pencil. I'm just going to make it bold using my marker. So that is the center part. Okay, that's the part that you're going to have center front, and this part has to be cut on fold. So once you have it, the next thing is to connect to your side. This is where we are connecting to. So for me, again, I don't want it to be too far, okay, from the waistline. So I'm just going to take my curve and then place it to do something, but bearing in mind that I don't want the distance from here to here to be too far. So you can see I'm placing my curve. You can also do a freehand here if your curve is not giving you what you want, but I can still work with what I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it. Okay, so when you are connecting, make sure that it is smooth. It has to be smooth. So this is what I have for the front. Okay, so now we're going to move to the back. So for the back, this is the back pattern, just like we did for the front as well. It's an off shoulder pattern, so I went off by 5 inches before I started taking my measurement. This is my armhole line, this is my waistline, and this is my hip line. So once you do that, the next thing is to take your dart. I've already taken my dart here, just like I explained, and then I'm going to take my straight ruler to show us what it looks like. So the dart I took here is just 1/2 inch on both sides. So for your dart, you're going to use your bust span measurement again, just like you did, and it's going to get to your armhole line, then stop 2 or 3 inches before your hip line. So here you're going to take 1/2 inch on both sides, and then you're going to connect it to the upper part like that, just like I'm doing, and then connect it to this part as well. So that is the dart we are taking here. So on the upper part here, just like we did 6.5 that we took from the upper part for the front as well, that's your across checks divided by 2. I'm going to do the same thing here, and then here I'm going to take my bust measurement divided by 4. Bust is 50, divided by 4 is 12.5, so I have 12.5 inches here. I'll take my curved ruler, and then I'm going to connect my armhole like this. Okay, so that's my armhole for the back. So I've already marked my zipper allowance as well. I have several tutorials on all of this, so I don't want this to be too long. So I'm just trying to show you what the zipper allowance is. And then on the waistline, I came in by 1 inch. so that I can avoid zipper bulge at that part. It's like taking a dart which was going to replace by the side. So here, to connect this part, I want to connect with my cover so that I can give it like a bomb illusion there, and I don't want it too straight. So I'm just connecting like this, so you can see that. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect my 1 inch zipper allowance all the way to the hem. So if you notice the hem, where the front hem stops, the front hem stops here, while the back hem stops here. That's because of the 2 inches bust that we are taking. And if you notice on this side as well, we have our waistline for the front. Okay, this is the waistline for the front, and this is the waistline for the back. You can see that they don't stop at the same point. So by the time you close this bust, that everything will go back to normal. So that is about it for the back. You just need to take your circumference measurement as well. So for the waistline is 11 1/4. So you are going to mark your 11 1/4 here. So here I have 3.5 inches. I'm going to skip that and then continue my measurement. So I'm going to connect my waist to my bust, and then you mark your bust circumference divided by 4, your hip circumference divided by 4. Mine is here. I'm going to connect that to my hip as well. So whatever you marked here, that's what you're going to maintain. That's the 14 inches for your hip divided by 4. You're going to mark it all the way to the hem. So once you are done with this, the next thing now is to create that shape for the godet for the front as well. So just like I did for the front, I'm maintaining my bust span. So this is my bust span line. So I'm going to take that line, your nipple to nipple. I'm going to mark it and then use it as your reference point. Okay, that is mine. So just like I did on the waistline here, for the back, I'm going to come down by 3 inches, just like I did for the front as well. And then I'm going to take my curved ruler and then link it to somewhere around my hip. I just don't want it to be so low. I don't want it to have visible difference. So that is why I'm using this as my reference point. So here I'm placing it like this, and then I'm going to connect. And when you are connecting, make sure that it is smooth. Okay, you don't want it to be looking somehow. So make sure that whatever it is you are connecting just connects well. So again, you can cut this out like this, but the back of the person is a bit deep and I don't want any bulge. So here on the armhole area here, on the zipper, on the waistline area here, I'm going to come up by 0.75 on both sides, and then I'm going to connect that to the side. So that way there's no way I can have any bulge at the center back. So this is what I have. This is all I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead now and cut this. So here they are going to add seam allowance so that you don't forget when you cut it out. So you can cut out your neckline now, but for me I prefer to join my darts before cutting my neckline. So if you want to cut out your dart, you can cut it. If you want to sew in your dart, you can sew in. If you want to cut it out separately, you just need to extend your center line upwards like this to be able to do that. So I'm done cutting it, and I think I showed a little bit of the clip. So this is the lower part. That's where we're going to add our godet. So this is the front, this is the back. So this is the center front where we made the curve, and this is the center back. So I labeled this because we're going to be cutting it out, and when we cut it out, I don't want it to be confusing. So now I'm going to be marking 2 inches interfere, and then I'm going to, you can divide it to how many depending on what you want. You can divide it anyhow you want basically. So for me, I'm dividing it into 4. Okay, and then I'm going to make it into a straight line just like this. I'll do the same thing for the back. So you can see I have marked this out. So you are going to be doing slash and spread, so you need to label this because you are cutting out completely. So I'll start labeling from the center front to the center back, so that when you mix it up and you see the number, you'll be able to pick it out. So I'm labeling 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, so this part you can write up on them as well, so that when you cut them out, you don't mess it up. So this is what I have. The next thing to do now is to grab my scissors, and then I'm going to cut. So when you are cutting, you are going to cut it out completely, and then we are going to spread it. So you can spread this on a pattern, but I don't want to waste any pattern, so I'm going to go ahead and spread it directly on my fabric, and then I'm just going to hold it with a pin. So I'm going to cut through everything. You can see that I'm cutting it, and this is the last one. So I'm going to go ahead and cut through the last one as well. So once you cut it, you take your pattern and spread on it, or you spread directly on your fabric like I am doing. So depending on the amount of gathers you want, you are going to start gathering it. So you place it like this. You measure the gathers, the fullness that you want, maybe 2 inches. Then you place the next one on the 2 inches. So this is a guide that can help you. On the hem, you can mark a straight line on the hem, so that you are going to be following that straight line, so that you don't make mistake. You can see how I'm arranging this. So once you have your 2 inches, you are going to spread this, and then you maintain that straight line. Remember, the hem is straight, it's only this part that is not straight. So you are going to keep, you can see it has fallen off. So you are going to keep doing that till you spread everything on your paper. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it on my fabric now and bring it back to show us what we have. I've gone ahead to cut it on my fabric, you can see. So on the side you had your seam allowance, whatever seam allowance that you work with, you had it to the side. This is the side for the back as well, and then this is the center front. So the center front, this part has to be on fold, you can see, and then you had your necessary allowance to that as well. This is the hem, and this is the upper part. So this is the center back as well, the one with the zipper. So you had your allowance to that, and you can note your zipper allowance as well. So that is it for the bodice. Then for the goddess, just like I explained, you are going to spread it. So when you spread it, when you want to fold your fabric, you fold it into 2. Remember, we have 2 sides, so you are going to fold it into 2. And for me, I added 5 inches 5 inches space to each of them. So each of them have 5 inches. So you can see this is 5 inches. The next one as well is 5 inches. So I put 5 inches in between each of my spread, because that is how I want it. So it is quite big, but this is what it looks like. So once you are done, you are going to match it on the upper part here. You had your seam allowance to that as well. And this is the lower part, which I said you should take as your reference point. So once they are on the same line, it's going to align. I added allowance on the hem of the lower part as well as the side. So I'm going to go ahead and weave it first before I start to sew it. Okay, so I've gone ahead to weave it, as you can see, and then I also joined the dart. So this is the back, you can see I've joined it, and then I used my iron to open the seam. So this is the left side and this is the right side. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut out the neckline of your choice. Okay, remember we did not cut out the neckline. So we're going to cut the neckline of your choice, but for both the front and back. This is the front. I've also opened my dart lines for the front as well. So after cutting your neckline, you're going to cut facing to conceal it. So you can cut a U neckline. You can use any neckline you want. So when you are done with that, you are going to join the front and back together on the sides. Okay, you are going to join the front and back together on the side, and then I'm going to fix my zipper at the center back. So I'm going to do all this now and bring it back to show us before we fix the godet. I've gone ahead to do all that, and this is what I have. You can see the neckline. I used facing to turn my neckline. You can also use bias if that is what you want. This is the back, as well. And then I've also installed my zipper, so I'm going to iron it. So after that, I'm going to join it by the side. This is what the front looks like. You can see the space that we have for the bust. Okay, and this is the back. So the next thing to do, so you can see the space where we're going to be inserting the godet. So you're going to bring your godet. So before you remove your pattern, please make sure you notch, or you just give a sign where the back is going to be or where the front is going to be, so that you won't get confused. For me, I placed the notch where I have my back, so I'm going to sew this to the back. And remember that you have 2 of these, because we are going to sew it to each of the sides. So you start sewing it from the hem, and once you get to this place, okay, where we start covering our hand, this place, you will start gathering. So the first thing I'm going to sew is to sew from the hem up to that place for both the front and back. So what I have left is what I'm going to gather into this space. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side as well. So you're going to look for where you have your notch, which is going to be your back, which is this. So you're going to pin it up to here from the hem. So when you get here, you stop, you go to the front, you pin it up to here as well. When you get there, you stop, and then you're going to gather the excess. It's going to be really big, because remember with this slash and spread, so all of this that we have here, we're going to be gathering it to fit this piece. So I'm going to do that now and bring it back to show us what we have. So this is what it looks like once you fix it. You can see, so like I said, I want it to be a little high on the hip so that the hip can push the gathers. That's why mine is this, and you can make yours as low as you want. This is what the front looks like, and this is what the back looks like. So you are going to hem it on the lower part and iron it well. So for me, I just fixed this hanging sleeve to mine, but you can fix any sleeve of your choice. I have a tutorial on how I did this as well, and this is what it looks like on the inside. You can see that it is neat on the inside as well. This is the sleeve area. It is turned with my I turned it with my facing, so you can use your hemming gum to just iron it so that it can lay better for you. So this is what it looks like. This is the gathered area as well. So it's always advisable to sedge it first before you sew, because once you do this, it's going to become bulky and it may be difficult to weave. So I'm going to take it to the mannequin now so that you can see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like on the mannequin. If you want to learn how I made the hanging sleeve, the tutorial is already uploaded on the channel as well. And this is what it looks like on the model. You can see that it is beautiful. And once you take all the necessary data at the back is going to align well. You're not going to have any bump at the center back. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed this, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.